Hello and welcome or welcome back to Novels with Nora. Today you are watching my very first reading vlog, and this is actually the week of Valentine's Day, so this is my very first reading vlog, and it's going to be a romance reading vlog, which is a genre I don't read a whole lot of. I pick up a romance like here and there every now and again when I'm just looking for something like a break between the fantasy that I've been reading. So I don't really read a whole lot of romance, and I have a few on my shelves if you've watched any of my past unhaul or bookshelf organization videos, but I've read most of them. I think there's like 2 or 3 maybe that I haven't read. But this reading vlog is going to be all about sapphic romances. And if you're unfamiliar with the term sapphic, it is just kind of a catch-all phrase for anything that has to do with like 2 women in a relationship. So because the term lesbian can be kind of exclusionary to bi women and queer women or pan women, this term sapphic encompasses all women loving women. So that's what this vlog is going to be about today, and I'm quite excited. What are my qualifications, you might ask? I am a lesbian. Yeah, that's right, you heard it here first. So I'm quite excited for this vlog, especially because there have been so many sapphic romances published recently, and also just so many sapphic books in general. So I'm very excited for this vlog. The only thing I know for sure I'm reading in this vlog is the book I'm currently reading, which is The Honey Witch by Sydney J. Shields, and I'm quite enjoying this so far. But everything else in the vlog is going to be as much a surprise for you as it is for me, because everything else pretty much just depends on which of my Libby holds come in. So, like I said, I only have a few romances on my shelves, and they're from before I really got super into romance, and also before a lot of sapphic romances were being published, but they've always been published. They just haven't always been super mainstream. And since I usually shop at like a Barnes & Noble, sometimes it's just harder to find things. So I also just don't own a whole lot of romance. Like, let me check real quick. I have 7 actual romance books, and there's one like romantic-y kind of, I guess. And I've read 4 of them. And one was, let me talk about it. I love this book. The Romantic Agenda by Claire Kahn. Let me tell you, this is the book that made me realize, maybe I do like the romance genre, and it's just that I've been reading straight romances that just are not connecting with me in the way that I want them to be. This is like, so she's asexual, and this book is so fantastic because I feel like a lot of the romance genre kind of hinges on smut and the sex scenes, and this technically has that, but in a new way that's I've never seen done before this, and have never seen done since this. I'm not reading this in this vlog, but you should totally read this. This is a fantastic book. It has great asexual representation, and also just is a fantastic book, so definitely pick that up. But that's the only romance I own that's not just like a straight white romance. So I'm excited today to expand my genres, or expand my horizons into things that I might actually connect with a little bit more. So like I said, we are starting with The Honey Witch, and I have already started this, and I'm on page 112. I started it last night. Okay, so here's the thing about this book. I can see the potential, and I think that's what makes it so painful, is I can see how good it could have been if it had just done like 1 or 2 more rounds of edits, because the concept is there. And I was thinking to myself while reading it, like, I'm making line edits in my head of like just the way sentences could sound better and flow better. Like, there was one sentence where something had happened and she was like, I know not what to do next. And I was like, just say I don't know what to do next. Like, right, like I get like what she was going for with that like phrase and that tone that she wants her character to have, but it kind of like took me out of the story, and I was like, who actually talks like that? It's not set forth as like a historical novel, so talking like that just felt like, oh, why are we talking like that? But then on top of that, when I was trying to fall asleep last night, I was thinking about this and what I want to say about it, and I was like reworking the whole like first 2 or 3 chapters of the book in my head. So the plot of this book, let me share, is that we have this girl Marigold, and she never really fits in with her family, who are all like super talented, and she lives in this little town where everyone has some kind of talent, and she's just never fit in because she doesn't have that. And then her mom is pressuring her to get married and like start a family and be a wife and a mother, and she has no interest in that. She always has preferred like the company of like the forest and the woods and just like running amok and doing her own thing. And then her grandmother comes to her and says, you're gonna be the next honey witch, you're coming with me back to our isle, and you're gonna take care of the land. And then it also mentions in this tiny little paragraph here that Lottie Burke, a notoriously grumpy skeptic, shows up on her doorstep, and Marigold can't resist the challenge to prove to her that magic is real, even at the risk of losing her home and her heart. Now, Right, okay, so first of all, I'm 112 pages in. We have encountered the love interest twice, and both times it was not at all in like a love interest capacity. So I'm interested to see what form that takes. But then also, I think this book could have been 10 times better and captured the audience's attention 10 times more had it started with her already knowing that she was the honey witch and that she was just like waiting for her grandma to come get her and take her to the Isle. Because instead what we have is her going about her life being like, I don't want to be a wife. I don't want to get trapped in this trap of being a wife and a mother. That's not what I want for myself, but it feels like what I have to do, and I don't fit in with anyone, and I look down upon everyone because they seem happy with that, and it's not what I want. But we don't know why she feels that way exactly, other than that's not what she wants for herself. But I think, and then her grandma shows up and is like, you're gonna be the honey witch, come with me. And she's like, oh my god, yes, of course. I think it could have been better for the book had Marigold known that she was going to be a honey witch, but she had to wait till she was 21, that's how old she is, to be fully become the honey witch, and then we could have just gone from there. Because there's a lot of like info dumping in the beginning where it just feels like we have to get caught up. And also with it says that she is the honey witch, like that's what the book is posed as. So knowing, like as the reader knowing, yes, she is the honey witch, like we know that's where she's going, but she doesn't know that yet, and having to read that is just a little bit frustrating because we know that's where she's ending up, but she doesn't know it. So she's like, oh, I don't fit in, what am I gonna do with my life? I don't want this. And it's like, well, we know that's not where you're ending up, so like I don't know why we're spending our time with this. And it was like the first like 20-ish, I think even more than 20 pages just spent of her being like, I don't want this life for me. Like first, okay, so up until page 50, she's not even on the Isle yet. So it just a lot of like, oh, woe is me, I don't want to be here. And I feel like we could have cut that out and been like, because it would have just given it more depth and perspective had it been like, I don't want to be here because I know there's something more for me out there. I know what I meant to do and I just want to do it. I don't know why I have to wait. And instead it's, I don't want this, but I don't know what I do want, so I'm just going to be like bratty about it, which I didn't love. And I really think that had it started with her knowing that she was going to be the honey witch, she just had to wait till she was 21 and then she would go, I think it would have really, that could have been like 20 pages. We didn't need all this Bridgerton-esque ball and like tomfoolery, quite frankly, at the beginning with her like dancing with this man and being like, it's not you, it's me, I don't want to be here. So there's that. And now she's on the Isle, she's taking care of her grandmother, and I'm really loving the imagery. I can already tell it's not going to be a 5-star just because it feels like a debut novel, and like I feel so bad saying that, but I can tell that this writer has such a great voice. She just needs to develop it. So I'll definitely pick up anything she writes in the future, maybe if it's something that interests me, but I really like her voice. I just think it needs to be sharpened, and I think this is the tool that is helping her sharpen it. So like I'm enjoying the imagery and what's happening, and I'm definitely intrigued, and I want to keep reading to find out what's going to happen. I can see the potential, and we didn't quite reach it, and that makes me a little bit sad, but that's what I'm reading currently. And then again, we will be seeing what I read next based on which of my Libby holds comes in. I have holds on Playing for Keeps by Jennifer Dugan, I think, which is like a sports softball, baseball romance. And then I also have How You Get the Girl by Anita Kelly, I think it is. I have wanted to read this book since I heard about it. I'm a big fan of women's basketball. If you heard I was a lesbian, that makes sense. And I'm super excited for that book. So when my Libby hold comes in, I will be reading that one. That's a women's basketball novel, romance novel, super excited for that. And then I have a few other things on hold that we will just see what comes in and go from there. And also, because it's the week of Valentine's Day and a romance reading vlog, we're going to be doing some Valentine's activities. I'm going to be making some Valentines for some family members, and then maybe making a little Valentine's treat. So stick around to hear me talk about these romance novels and how much I love girls. Yes, that's right. And then, you know, I'll take you along for the ride. So stick around. So it's later in the evening now. I put on my pajamas, and I have some thoughts. Okay, I am now on page 155, and so Marigold has this friend, August, who she was friends with when she was a kid on the Isle, and then she came back, and their friendship picked up like it never left off, and like those are the types of friendships that you want to have, but this one just feels weird because we never saw them as friends as kids, and now all of a sudden they're just like besties. Like, she's acting like, oh, August, my one friend, like, he just needs to come back to me. And I'm like, girl, I feel like we just need more there. And then they currently made this bet deal where August wants a spell, like the soulmate spell. He wants Marigold to make that for him. And Marigold said she will make it as long as Lottie, who's August's friend but does not like Marigold, stays on the Isle in the cottage with her and comes to believe in her magic. Lottie is a skeptic. She does not believe, she doesn't think magic is real. Key point about Lottie, when she was younger, she was like an orphan, so she doesn't really remember her childhood. Me as the reader, I think I know where that's going. I'm not going to say just in case it is a spoiler, but I think I see where that's going, and if it is, Queen Marigold, wake up. Open your eyes, because it is so obvious. So I really hope that, you know, that something gets thrown at me, and I'm like, oh, I didn't see that coming. And also, I really just want this to be like a cozy, they're just like, Marigold's trying to convince Lottie that she really does have magic, and there's no like big bad out there. But I think there is a big bad out there, and I don't currently trust this author to pull that off in a way that I'm really going to love. So we'll have to see. But right now I can see all the pieces coming together, and I worry because I don't know that it's going to work in a way that I want it to. I really just want this to be like a cozy, like bet romance where Marigold is just trying to convince Lottie that her magic is real, and just like we're learning more about the magic, and Lottie and Marigold are like deepening their feelings for each other, because they kind of already are, and it's like real cutesy. I really like what's happening there. I just don't want there to be more, I don't want to say I don't want there to be more plot, but I don't want there to be like some like big bad that they have to defeat, because I fear that's where we're going, and I just don't know that it's gonna work perfectly here. Especially because Marigold just got a letter from her mom, and she was like, there's still so much you don't know. And I'm like, then tell her. Like, why are we acting like it has to be a big secret? Simply just tell her. Like, write her another letter and be like, here's what you need to know. So I'm gonna keep reading, and I will keep you updated on if I stay annoyed. But right now, like, I can see what this book could be, and I think that's why it's so upsetting to read, because it's like I see what could be there, what could have been done, and it would be so fantastic. I would love it so much, but I fear that's not what we're doing. And that's not the book's fault. The book didn't want to be doing that, but it could have, and it would be so good. But I'm gonna read a little and then get dinner and then probably read some more and keep you updated all the while. My thoughts are mostly the same as they were yesterday. Let me just say, I like the direction that we're going with the romance. I like that we're leaning more into like the romance. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but becoming the Honey Witch made it so that Marigold had a curse on her where she couldn't fall in love, and guess what? She's falling in love. Surprise, surprise. I really like the romantic angle we're taking with August, Marigold's friend. I do quite like that. And at this point in the story, Marigold, Lottie, and August have all left the Isle of Innisfree and have come back to Bardshire, where Marigold grew up, for her sister's wedding. And let me tell you, things were going wrong on Innisfree when they left, right? Things were going like very, very wrong. And Marigold was like, I mean, it makes me nervous to leave, but like it's my sister's wedding and I have to go. Queen, the Isle is falling apart, okay? Let me be the first to say that. The magic is falling apart and it's like dementing the things there. Real. But I feel like leaving was not a good idea, and I fear what they're going to come back to. But I like what's happening in the story. I can already tell it's not going to be a 5-star. It's not going to be. And I think I see where we're going with Lottie's character and how she is kind of like in tune with the magic. But we'll have to see if that comes to fruition. But other than that, I'm hoping to finish it today. I have about 100 pages left, so I probably will be able to. I'm enjoying it. It's just, again, I can see the potential and I know what it could have been, so the fact that it's not that is a little disappointing. But gonna finish this today and then probably pick up one of my Libby holds. I think my hold for Playing for Keeps came in, so then we'll switch that, which is like a true romance. This is like fantasy romance, like cozy fantasy romance, and that is like contemporary romance. So, and I feel like this was a good place to start because I want more romance. I want to see their relationship blossom, and the rest of it is kind of like, okay, yeah, it's like background. So I think this was a good place to start because it puts me in the mood for more romance, you know. And I don't know if you noticed, but every day this week I'm gonna have a new Valentine's themed outfit. So today we have this little striped sweater with my little heart necklace, and then who knows what the rest of the week will hold. I mean, I do, but you don't, and that'll be fun. I plan on making some Valentine's treats on Thursday or Friday. We'll have to see. And then tomorrow you get to come with me while I make my Valentines for everybody. So that'll be really fun. The rest of the day is going to be finishing this and then starting something new. I will keep you updated. I only have about 50 pages left, but I have several pieces of commentary. First, I thought this was YA. I was operating under the assumption that this was a young adult novel. No, it's technically adult, but I feel like it fits better into new adult because the character, she starts out being 21 and then she turns 22. So I feel like that's the area we're in. So because I thought it was YA, I was not expecting anything to get, you know, and it did. Okay, so first of all, on page like 151, we had this scene where she was like trying the honey, like she was like having her taste it, and she was like, she takes her honeyed fingers out of the hive and holds them up to Lottie's lips. Lottie looks up at her through her heavy brown lashes and smirks. She parts her flushed lips and wraps them around Marigold's 2 fingers. Her tongue tickles her fingertips, and Marigold acknowledges it with a breathy laugh. Lottie smiles as she slowly pulls her lips away, leaving Marigold's fingers glistening and warm. She tries to pretend that it feels exactly the same as when she had August's lips wrapped around her fingers, but it does not. Here, with her, there is much more heat. And that's about as far as I thought this was gonna. I was reading this and I was like, oh, okay. And then just recently what happened was they are leaving Aster, her sister's wedding, and going back to Innisfree. And first of all, I'll say that after this. So they're leaving and they're staying at this hotel, and then, you know, they start getting down, I guess. And let me backtrack a little here. They can't be doing this. It's like physically harming Lottie because of the curse. Every time they like kiss, hold hands, Lottie's getting like headaches, she's getting nauseous, she's throwing up. So why they decide that this is a good idea, I don't know. Maybe they're thinking, well, their thought process was, the way we're going about it, it's not gonna happen. Girl. This is gonna be a very niche reference, I fear. There is a scene in Gilmore Girls where Paris is dating this like old man professor guy, and then he dies because he has a heart attack, and Paris calls Rory and is like, oh my god, he died. And Rory's first thought is, oh my god, is it because you were having sex? And Paris is like, no, my vagina did not kill him. That's the only thing I can think about in this scene. The only thing I can think. If you have read this book, please tell me that I'm not crazy. But that's all I could think about. And I was like, girls, please, we should have seen this coming. But anyway, crazy scene. But my other bone that I need to pick is Aster is marrying this man who was only ever referred to as Mr. Wooddrake. We never get a first name. Never once. It's the wedding. We can't refer to him with the first name. That's just crazy. It feels like lazy writing. Like you couldn't give him a first name. But anyway, those are my thoughts at the moment. They're on their way back. Okay, also, another bone to pick. All of the pieces for why these things are happening and what's going on and like the mystery of Lottie's childhood, all of the pieces are there. They're all laid out in order. Queen Marigold just needs to take a step back and see the bigger picture, and all the pieces will fit together. And it's really infuriating to read as the reader because like you see all the pieces. Unless something crazy happens, like there's a crazy twist thrown in, then I'll eat my words. Mark my words. But she really just like all the pieces are there. There should be no reason why we're confused why any of this is happening. And so it just feels exhausting to read the same things like, oh, I'm gonna get to the bottom of this. I gotta get back to the aisle to figure it out. And it's like, girls, please. We know why this is happening. You just need to use your brain a little bit. But we're on our way back to the aisle and things are not looking good for them. But I only have like 50 pages left and I feel like it's gonna have a happy ending. I feel like it is. So I will update you again when I finish. I have finished it. Did I tear up? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And I'm not ashamed to admit that. I enjoyed the ending. There is one character in here I don't think I've talked about yet. His name is Mr. Benny. He's like this older grandfather-esque figure in Marigold's life. And I love him so much. I wish we had gotten more of him. And truly, Mr. Benny. I love him a lot. And that's what got me tearing up. I love him so much. I enjoyed the ending. I think it was good. Everything that I thought was gonna happen did happen. There was like one extra little twist that I was like, yeah, okay, I'll take it. I wish we had gotten more of like the rebuilding at the end because we had like the big battle scene And then let me just show you. So we had like this big battle scene here, and then she was like, oh, things are happening, and then, oh yay, we're in love, how exciting. And then part 5, just a little, and then we had another one of these little like inserts, and that's all the rebuilding end of the book that we got. And I just wish there had been more, because like the cottage, which is like the main setting of the book, this is like kind of a little bit of a spoiler, but like it burns down in the end, and that makes my heart hurt. I love that little cottage, and I would have loved to seen it get like rebuilt, and like it talks about them rebuilding it like with everyone's help in the end, but I would have liked to actually see that. It's gonna be a 3-star for me. I toyed with it being a 3.5 star, but it's just not there, because I really liked parts of the middle and then parts of the end, but the beginning, no. I really do think that had we shortened that beginning, we could have added on to the end, and that would have made it so much better. I will say the action towards the end, it made it so that I wasn't as focused on the writing, and I enjoyed it a lot more. So I definitely do think I'll pick up future things from this author if they sound interesting to me, because I think that her writing will definitely improve as she publishes more things. I did really enjoy it. I do recommend it. I just think it's a very good story about like love and loss and grief and like finding your place and finding like your family, and I did really enjoy it. Like the talks about loss and grief and how they're not just like absences, but they are like physical things in your life. I really enjoyed those, and there's a lot of really great quotes about that. I really like that aspect of it. I just wish that there had been more emphasis on the romance, actually, which is quite surprising. But I feel like if you're going to pitch it as like a cozy fantasy romance, we need more romance, you know? Also, I would have liked to know more about the Ash Witch magic, because that seems really cool. So I don't know. I did enjoy it. I will say overwhelming feelings are enjoyment and then just like slight agitation knowing that it could have been better. I know I have kept saying that, but truly I could see the potential, and there's just like a few little twists that are like changes that I would have made. I didn't write the book, so I don't get to make these changes, but I think that the book could have been like 10 times better, and it could have easily been a 5-star for me if those just little things had been changed. But overall, I did really like it. It was so annoying the way that Marigold came to find out who, like, what's going on with Lottie and her connection to everything. That I was rolling my eyes, because I was like, really, that's what's gonna give it away for her? But whatever, it ended up working out in the end. And the cover, I remember when the cover got announced, because I have been waiting for this book since before we had a cover reveal. I wasn't a huge fan, but now I kind of like it. Let me give you a little close-up here. Ooh, I do like the cover. And this little quote here by Rachel Gillig: a sweet feast brimming with whimsy, a sweet feast brimming with whimsy, magic, and tender longing. And I feel like there could have been more tender longing. I'm gonna be real with you. Give me more. But truly, it was a good book. Now we get to move on to the next one. I'm gonna eat lunch and take my time to ponder it, maybe come back to you with some more thoughts. But then we get to start our next book, which is gonna be a full-on romance. So here we go. It's significantly later. I ruminated on why I thought it was YA, because nowhere did it say that. And I think it's because the characters acted very young. And like, yes, they're in their like early 20s, like just turned 20, but it felt like they were significantly younger than that. So it felt like it read like YA. So there's that. I did end up giving it a 3-star. I enjoyed it. It could have been, and it wasn't. But now I've started reading Playing for Keeps by Jennifer Duggan. Either way, this is a little sports romance, but like in a fun, quirky way. So we have Ivy, she used to play soccer, but she doesn't anymore, and now she is an umpire. Well, she wants to be a ref in the NFL, but right now she's an umpire. And her like big goal is to be a ref in the NFL, be like one of the first women to break into that field, which there's been so many great conversations in this book already. I'm like 40% in already, about women in sports, specifically like refs, and how they're not quite viewed as like actual people, and just the way they're treated by, specifically in Ivy's situation, how she's treated by like parents of people. Like she's reffing for like kids, and how the parents are just like so awful to her because they see it as like her fault that everything's going wrong. But that's super interesting. And then June plays baseball. She does not play softball, she plays baseball. She's on a team with like all boys, and she's the only girl, but they don't like treat her any different for it, because like she's proven her worth to be there. But she's being pressured to like go to school for it, but like her shoulder hurt, so she's dealing with that. And then the drama of the book here is that it's one of the rules where refs or like the umpires and the players can't intermingle because it's like a conflict of interest. But guess what? They're dating. They're already together and I'm loving it so much. I've highlighted so many things. I'm really enjoying this. It's so cutesy. And as a recent fan of women's sports, just got into it recently because I never liked sports, but women's basketball has really gotten me hooked this past season. I'm a big fan of the New York Liberty, and they just won the championship last year. That was super exciting, and it's what really helped get me into it. Shout out to my brother because he's also a big fan, and he tells me all of the things that I don't know because I don't really know sports like that, but he does, and he's very helpful about like explaining it to me in a way that I understand and doesn't like look down on me. He doesn't like do it in a condescending way. It's just very, I love him for that. Yeah, he's a good one. But this is so fantastic so far. Like I said, I'm already 40% in. I'm reading it on my Kindle and I'm listening to the audiobook, and I'm absolutely loving the narrators. There are 2 different narrators for the 2 different girls. Loving it. It is YA. They're both in high school, but like seniors in high school, and I'm really enjoying it. It's truly like I really am enjoying this because they've already gotten together. And one of my big things with romances is that we see, and it's the same with Hallmark movies, we see them like working up to getting together, but then we don't actually see the relationship, you know? And this, they're already together, they've gone on dates, they're talking about like what they are to each other and like having those conversations, and I'm loving it. I feel like we don't see this a lot in romance, but I just know something's gonna go wrong. I just know it. Oh, and another thing, they're also bonding because Ivy's older brother died of cancer, and then June's mom died of cancer, so they're kind of trauma bonding in that way. But yeah, I'm really liking it, and I'm very much looking forward to continuing. I will say how I got this cover here. I was doing some research to see how to get the ads removed from like, they just like give me weird ads that I like don't particularly care for, and how to get the cover on there. And I clicked the button that said like, you know, do it, because I thought it would like tell me how much it was going to cost. Tell me why it automatic took those $22 out of my account. Also, tell me why it's $20 to remove the ads. And then $2.68 tax. And there was no like confirm. It was just, I clicked it thinking it would take me to like a payment page so I could fully see how much it was going to cost. Money's already out of my account. I mean, oh well, I really like having this here. And I ordered a case and like a little grippy thing because I hate the texture of my Kindle, and that's really what keeps me from reading on here all that much. I don't like the way this feels in my hand, but I'm excited for that, and I think it's supposed to be coming tomorrow, so you might get to see me unbox that. But I'm really enjoying this. I'm having a great time, and the cover is so cutesy. This isn't a really good representation because it's in black and white, but all of Jennifer Dugan, I really need to figure out how to pronounce her last name. Jennifer Dugan we're gonna go with right now. All of her covers are super cutesy. So I'm gonna go to bed and I will update you in the morning, but so far really enjoying this. I'm liking it a lot more than Honey Witch, which is honestly surprising for me because like YA contemporary romance is not a genre I read from a lot because I don't typically love it, but like fantasy, love, that's my genre. Maybe not anymore. Maybe just that one though. I don't know, we'll have to see. But so far, I'm really enjoying this. And also tomorrow we're making our Valentines. I'm very excited for that. So, good night, sleep tight. I'll catch you in the morning. I was gonna say good morning, but it's 2 o'clock. I have been busy at work. Okay, so I read some of Playing for Keeps this morning. I'm still absolutely loving it. We just had the like 3rd act breakup, as they call it, but it felt really natural for the progression of the story. Like I said before, because Ivy is the for this, the umpire, and June is playing on the team, it's a conflict of interest, so they've been having to like sneak around and try and make it so that no one knows that they're together. Yeah, you know where that's going. So it felt very natural for the story, and like it didn't feel like, oh, here comes the 3rd act and here comes the breakup. It felt very smooth. It wasn't like, oh, the 3rd act is here, miscommunication. It was not that at all, and I really enjoyed that. I also really like the development that we're having with their parents, because now they've each met the other's parents, and I really like what's happening there. I'm still absolutely loving it. I think I'm like 60% through, really enjoying it. And then I do have some more thoughts about the Honey Witch. I don't know if I've just been ruminating on this because all the pieces were there for it to be such a fantastic book, and they just didn't line up. I think what it was trying to balance the like cozy romance and like the fantasy aspects, and so they were just like walking this like thin line, and we just needed to like lean into one of them, because the romance was like kind of like, it was cutesy. I liked it. It got a little steamy there and I wasn't expecting that, but like it was fine. And then the way it ended was like okay, what now? Because we spend all of the book waiting for them to like realize that they're into each other and be able to get together. And then the book ends before we really see any resolution from that. And I think it just would have been like so much better had there been more conclusion and more, okay, we're reconciling, we're healing, we're coming together, here's our cutesy relationship. We didn't have that. But then on the fantasy side, there wasn't like a whole lot of build up to what was happening, because I feel like we just needed to like dive deeper into the magic system and like how everything worked, because especially the way they defeated the big bad at the end, that's it? That's all you had to do? Exhausting. Like, it was just like, come on. Like, we needed to lean further into both or just one or the other. Like, we could not, we really had to pick one or the other. The way they were trying to do both just did not work. So unfortunately, that's where we're at with that. But playing for keeps, I'm absolutely loving. These characters are just so fantastic, and the way it's written, at first I wasn't sure if I was going to really mesh with, because we're like hearing directly from each character, but it feels like we're hearing like their journal, you know, I'm like reading their diaries, and I'm really enjoying it. There still have been some like really great conversations about like calling women females versus women, and how some people don't even realize that that's not, they're like, yeah, that's the same thing. No, it's not. And then also just great conversations about how June is like a woman baseball player, and that's not super common, and she sees herself as like what's gonna help the rest of her team get like scouts' eyes on them, because they're like, oh my god, a girl playing baseball, let me go see that. And then the rest of her team is getting like offers and like scholarships and like full ride scholarships, and she's gotten like nothing. And so like she's the one driving the eyes to her team, but then she's not getting any of the benefits of that. There's also been a lot of interesting conversations about how June is like putting herself first, because she sees her goals as like more important than Ivy's, because she's like, right, you can go to school, you can do whatever and become a ref whenever, where June is like, I need to do this now, like I don't have time to like put this off. So June is kind of prioritizing herself in the relationship, and Ivy is like really feeling the effects of that. And I'm really interested to see how they're going to resolve this, because you can tell that the characters really care for each other. So I'm interested to see how they're going to come back together. But I thought I was going to listen to my audiobook while I was crafting, but I've really just been enjoying having like a little, because I'm not fully focused on what I'm like listening, I've been crafting. So far I have made a whole bunch of different paper hearts in all different colors. We have pink, red, purple, and white. So I've just been cutting out all these hearts. And then I made this card for my grandma. It says celebrate. And then I did little like thumbprint hearts on the inside. How cutesy. My grandma's birthday is the day before Valentine's Day, so we kind of always celebrate the two together, because she just loves Valentine's Day. I love all these hearts here. And then I just did this one for my mom that has a dog's paw print on it. And then on the inside, I drew two, or like they're thumbprints, but I made them look like people, so it's me and her. And that's just so cutesy. I tried to use my ink and like stamp my dog's paw. Don't worry, I had dog approved wipes on standby, but because it's not like dog ink, if that makes sense, it didn't really work. But you can kind of see like little smudges of it in there. And then I did my best to draw a paw print. So that's where we're at with that. And then I also just got a very exciting package. So my Kindle, as you can tell, she's naked. She's got nothing on her. I think I talked earlier in this vlog how I don't really like the way this feels unless I'm like fully moisturized. I got clammy hands, so typically they are. But like I don't like the way this feels, and I don't have a case for it or anything. I have this little pouch that it like slides down into, see, but like it's also like very tight. I got this custom made from the Scripted Letter Company. Absolutely love that small business, but it's like it just fits. And I got a clear case to go on it, and then like a little pop grip, both from small businesses, and I'm really looking forward to putting those on. The case came, the other things are still on their way to be delivered, but I fear that once I put the case and like the poppy grip thingy on, it's not going to fit down in here. So I might have to figure something out with that, because I really like putting in here. I like that it keeps dust and like scratches off the screen, and then I also always know where it is because it's kind of like bulks it up, and it's nice padded. So obviously when I put the case on, that'll protect it somewhat, but I still really like having this pouch to slide it in. So we'll have to see about that. But I'm just going to keep crafting, and I don't know whose Valentine I want to make next. I'm not even all sure who I'm making Valentines for. I'm just having so much fun, like seeing all this like paper and stuff. It really reminds me of when I was in like middle school and we'd have to make Valentines for everyone in the class. Yeah, I was the girl who would like stay up and make a personalized handmade Valentine for everyone in the class. That was me. Also, my outfit today, this shirt that I have on underneath is my absolute favorite shirt that I've ever thrifted. It's got like these little flowers on it, and then it's got like little bumpies. I love it so much. And then this sweater, I thought the colors reminded me of like those little like conversation hearts that I think are disgusting but are super cutesy. So I'm really loving my outfit today. I feel very cute, very put together, very Valentine-esque. Yeah, that's my update. I am going to keep crafting and check in with you later. Okay, it is later. I haven't read anything more, but I did get my packages. So I got my clear Kindle case. I already love the way this feels so much more. Like, I can just tell I'm going to be reading a lot more on here because it doesn't feel so awful. It's got these nice like corners. I got this on Etsy, and could I have just bought one on Amazon? Yes. Would it have been cheaper? Yes. Is it probably the same case? Yes. However, I did not want to give my money to Amazon, so I bought it on Etsy, and it came with these 2 stickers and a little like thank you card, and Amazon would not have done that. And good news, I'm pretty sure it still fits. It's a tight fit, and now it's like crooked here, but it fits. And that's really all that matters. So I got that, and then I also got this little grip from Blush Designs Co., one of my new favorite bookish businesses, and it's a MagSafe grip. So it comes with like this little sticker that you just like stick on the back wherever you want it. Oh my god, I'm kind of already sticking. And then this just sticks right onto it, and it's like solidly stuck on there. And then this just goes on here, so it'll be even easier for me to hold one-handed. Cutesy. And then also, I got 2 stickers from Blush Designs Co. Truly, I watch her on YouTube, and I absolutely love her videos, and I was watching her, like, create this new collection. I said, yeah, I'm gonna be purchasing. So I'm so glad, and everything came, and it was so perfect. It's so lovely. So I got this sticker that says, read more books, and it's so cutie. And then my tummy hurts, because my tummy do be hurting. And look how cute. They're so cute together. I don't know if I'm gonna put them on my Kindle. Like, I know that would eat so hard, but I really like, I've seen some people on TikTok where they put like print little inserts to go in there, and you can just like change it all the time. I kind of want to do that, and if I put a sticker, then I have to like, but I could put the sticker inside the case. Now that's smart. But then it also came, my order came with so many like freebie little things. So there's a bookmark that says Book Lovers Club, and then it's like checkered on the back with her little logo, and then a little Book Lovers Club sticker, and then this little postcard where my name is written on there. Just how exciting. So I absolutely loved placing this order, and everything is just like so high quality. Like the little backing that the grip was on, like this is embossed, and all this information on the back, like this is just so high quality. So I'm so excited. I'm going to read some more. Oh, do you want to see the Valentines I made? Stay right there. Okay, slightly new angle. So first I made some actual cards. This will be going up after Valentine's Day, so no worries about people seeing it. So I made this one for my grandma. It says celebrate. I think I might have already showed this one, but there's that. And then it's got some nice parts on the inside. And then I did one for my other grandma, just cutesy. She's more classic, you know? And then again, just more parts, and then a little flower. And then for my mom, I did this one, and it's got my little dog's paw print in there. How cutesy. And then on the inside, I did something very silly, and I did little like thumbprints, and then it's us, because it says us, yeah, right? And then for my dad, I did something similar, just, you know, love. And then I also did you and me. Look at that. The hair is so silly. And then the silliest part, the absolute silliest, my little dog, you've seen him before, his name is Cheerio, and I call him my love bug. So I made a love bug. She is such a diva. I love her. Look at her lashes. Yeah, she's a diva. And then I loved making her so much that I made her a little friend. Yeah, that's a diva if I've ever seen one. And she's got some sass. Look at her smirking at you. So that's what I made. I wish I had filmed me actually making stuff, but I was just like getting in the zone, cutting all my paper, gluing all my things. But I really had so much fun with this. So I am now actually going to read some more, and then I will check back in with you once now that I have my case. Oh, this is so fantastic. Like, it just feels so much better. And I'm going to probably figure this out, because I want to put it like kind of on the side here. But then what if I want to hold it with my left hand? So like, do I put it in the middle? I don't know. It feels weird to hold it with my left hand. It feels better in my right. I feel like I read more like this. I'm gonna have to read a little and then figure it out from there. But I will update you once I get that figured out. Good morning. I am awake, and that is something to celebrate. I'm wearing my strawberry shortcake shirt today. Can you tell I like strawberry shortcake? This is the second piece of Miss Berry clothing that you've seen me in this week, but I really feel like she is the perfect embodiment for Valentine's Day. She loves everyone.
She's pink and red. I feel like there's no better way to go. And also I own a lot of clothing with her on it because I love her so much. Now, all the clothing I have with her on it is the like OG version where she's got this like crazy big hat. My personal favorite version is the 2003 version. I was born in 2003, so that's the version I grew up with, where she's got the jeans and still a wonky hat, but like I like that hat better because I'm more used to it. But she's got the jeans and like the sweatshirt tied around her waist. Yeah, that one, that's who I resonate with most. And they just like don't sell merch with her on it. So justice for her. And also, completely off topic here, but my favorite Strawberry Shortcake character is Peppermint Patty. Oh, I love her so much. She is a hater to her core. And honestly, me too. But she always changes her tune once she gets to know people. Like, she just got a hard exterior, like a Peppermint Patty. I love her so much. Like, I remember one specific episode where there was a new girl coming down. She's like, absolutely not. I am not messing with her. No, sir. And then they did like a Miss Berry. That's what I call Strawberry Shortcake because we're like this. She was like, I'm gonna make them be friends because her whole thing is friendship, obviously. And so she staged like a masquerade party and everyone was wearing the same outfit, so Peppermint didn't know who was who. And she's like, oh, this chick is like really cool. I wonder who this is. Yeah, it was the new girl. It was, yeah. And then they became besties. So look at her. But anyway, what we're really here for. Last night I finished Playing for Keeps. Okay, so I gave it a tentative 5 stars. I'm considering taking it down to a 4.5 though. Let's talk through it. So I really enjoyed it. This is truly like my ideal romance because the biggest bone I have to pick with romance is that through the course of the book or the movie or whatever form of media it is, we see them like, oh, will they, won't they? Do we like each other? Do we not? And then at the end, like, I'm thinking specifically Hallmark movies, they kiss and then it's over. Or they get together and then it's over and we don't see how the relationship actually looks. And this we did. We saw them going on dates. We saw them introducing each other to their parents. We saw like the actual relationship and like meeting each other's friends and just like really integrating each other into their lives. And I absolutely love that. And then I mentioned this yesterday, but like the 3rd act breakup, oh, I hate it so much because it's always like, it's just miscommunication. Oh, no, we're not doing that. But this, it felt so natural for their character because they were both going through so much individually and they needed to take time apart to work through those things to then be able to come back together and actually have a healthy relationship. So them breaking up made so much sense. And we saw them both being like, I don't want this isn't what I want, but like I need to just focus on what I'm doing. And then it was just so perfect. And the way it ended, it was beautiful because, okay, so first of all, I think I mentioned June was having like some shoulder pain, but she was just playing through it. Oh girl. I don't know if this author ever had this kind of issue, but the way she described the pain that June was experiencing was so visceral and like it made me like have chills and like tingle, and it was just awful. The way she described, because I think she like tore her rotator cuff, I think that's what it was. The way that she described it was just so visceral and like I could feel it, and like the sound that she was describing, I was like, oh, I hope that never happens to me. But then the way that like everything had to fall apart for everything to come back together was just so beautiful. And then there was like a epilogue that was just so cutesy, but the way the actual book ended was June and Ivy going on a little date, and June was like, you're not playing fair, and Ivy was like, no, I'm playing for keeps. Playing for keeps? Yeah. I loved it. It was just so cutesy. Again, the conversations around how they both have dreams that are going to be like hard for them to break into because they both want to break into areas that are not typically like female dominated, but they like those are their dreams. The way their dreams are seen as being very different because like women in sports, it's becoming more normalized, I guess. I feel like that's not the right word, but women in sports, especially I feel like with women's basketball becoming like such a huge thing, women's sports are being seen as more valid, I guess, which they always should have been, but whatever. So June's dream of becoming like a fully established like college female athlete in baseball rather than softball is seen as more attainable, I guess, because there's like a direct path to take to get you there. And so everyone is just like, yeah, like that's like a dream for her to have. Where Ivy's dream of becoming a ref for the NFL and eventually being a ref for the Super Bowl is like, well, that's not like a career. Like that's just like something that you want to do. Like you need to like go to school and do other things, which is not something that June faced. So I really like seeing the dichotomy of how they both want to work in sports and how like they both have to like fight really hard to get where they want, but they're still seen like as incredibly different. And then I also loved how they ended up having like these really good conversations with their parents about the different issues that they were having. Ivy's issue was that her parents were like, you're going to school, because they were kind of forcing her into the role of her older brother who had died from cancer. And she was like, I am not him. Like, I have my own dreams, and I understand that you want to see his dreams fulfilled, but like, I'm my own person and I need to do my own things. And then the problems that June was having was that her mom had left her all these letters, and it was like, when you play your first college game, when you get recruited. And so she felt like she had to live up to these like impossible standards that her mom had set for her. And her dad would just kept giving her these letters. And so she felt like her dad was pressuring her too. And when she finally had to talk to her, I was like, oh, I didn't realize that was the case. Like, I thought you enjoyed them. So just like seeing all these things come, but it wasn't like, oh, if they just had this conversation earlier, this all would have been resolved, because these types of conversations are not something you just sit down like, hey, my dead mom. Right, that's just not really how it works. But it was so beautiful, and like you could tell that these two girls just cared about each other so much. I think I've talked myself into keeping my 5-star. I sometimes, because I don't read romance super frequently, I feel like a 5-star romance is not quite on the same level as like a 5-star fantasy for me. And I think that's okay, right? Because for what it is, this is a 5-star. But for what a fantasy is, like the Stardust Thief that I gave a 5-star, that's also a 5-star. And they can both be there, just in different ways. That's where we're at with this. I absolutely loved this. So my next read, oh, before we get there, I put the little pop sockety thing on, and it's like stiff right now, but I like that because I think it's not going to wear out super quick. I put it in the perfect spot for where I hold my Kindle. Look at that. I'm one of those Kindle girlies now. Yeah, you better watch out. So really like this. I did have to reposition it because I put it down a little too low, so I was kind of holding it like here, and that just wasn't comfortable. So I feel that the stick isn't as strong as it needs to be, but like I'm pulling it and it's not going anywhere, so I think that we're okay. Yeah. But anyway, for my next read, I don't think I have anything in at Libby right now. Well, I have How You Get the Girl as an audio or as an ebook, but I really love listening to the audiobooks, especially because I'm going to be baking today and I like to listen to an audiobook while I bake. Also, I want to make sure that I'm reading from authors of color as well as just sapphic authors. Also, Jennifer Dugan writes a lot of like sapphic romances, but she herself, I'm not sure, is sapphic, and that makes me a little suspicious. I mean, she writes them really well, and I really did enjoy that, but I can't find, it just says like she lives with her family, and she does not need to disclose her sexuality like at all. That's not what I'm saying. It's just I want to read from someone who is a known lesbian, and especially a lesbian of color. I don't know if you guys watching right now are up on your like lesbian media, but Lucy Dacus, I believe is how you say her last name, from Boy Genius, she just released a music video for her next song. I'm not like a big fan of her. I don't really listen to a lot of music, and she had made it a big thing that she had like an open casting call for a bunch of like masked lesbians to come together. And then when we saw the lineup of who she had, it was the whitest lineup. I was like, you had an open casting call and this is what you got? All of these able-bodied, straight-sized white lesbians? I don't know, guys. I saw someone on TikTok and she was like, you got all of these like TikTok lesbians to come up here and start mewing at us. And I was like, that is exactly what it felt like. Because tell me why you had an open casting call and yet there was like no diversity in there. I'm suspicious. During Black History Month, not suspicious. But I want to make sure that I am reading not just white lesbians, because those are the ones that typically get, you know, all the attention. But I want to make sure that I'm finding things from authors of color who are writing lesbians, right? So I do have an audiobook for Outdrawn, which is a Black sapphic romance. However, I would love to have the audiobook and the ebook, but Libby, like my library, only has the audiobook. That seems weird to me. I might just listen to that and go from there. But I also think I'm going to look for other things just to see, because I don't want to limit myself. No one should ever be limited. I think what's going to happen now is I'm going to look through Libby, see what else I can find, and then we'll go from there. Also, Sarah Ray Vargas, one of my favorite YouTubers, she posted a host a Valentine's Day party with me video over an hour long. Oh, you know I'm going to be watching that. Fits perfectly with this. I love Valentine's Day, okay? I feel like I've already talked about this, but it is like one of my favorite holidays. I just love all the like pink and red and hearts, and it's just so fantastic. And I love love, okay? Deep to my core. I'm a hater and then I'm a lover. You just got to get through that thick layer of hate, right? My Valentine this year is my little dog Cheerio. He is my love bug. And I love celebrating love, okay? I'm a lover girl deep down. Deep down I am. And this holiday lets me celebrate her. I love all things cutesy and lovey, okay? I do. So anyway, I'm going to look through Libby I love this case, okay? I keep getting distracted by it because it feels so good. Like, I'm gonna be reading so much more on my Kindle now because this is just so fantastic. Also, oh, I think I have so many thoughts happening in my head right now. I'm going to also make a little insert. I just have to figure out the size, but then I want to make like a cutie Valentine's Day insert to put in there. I think I would really love that. But I'm going to do that. I'm going to find something to read. I do want to read Outdrawn, but I would prefer to read it when I have the audio and the ebook, but we'll see. And then I'm going to watch this YouTube video. Okay, plan for the day. Let's get serious. Going to find something to read next. I'm going to watch this YouTube video and probably also make my little insert at the same time because I love doing that. Then I'm going to get breakfast, and then we are making our first treat because it has to chill in the fridge, and they're going to be cheesecake brownies. I've wanted to make this recipe for so long, but when I was at college, I was not buying those ingredients. Why is cream cheese so expensive? Yeah. So now that I'm home, we're doing it. I'm going to do that, but then also I found a recipe for red velvet cheesecake brownies. Red velvet is my favorite flavor for like anything, so I might have to do that instead. And the recipe is like quite similar because it's really just red food coloring, but don't tell me that because I won't believe you. And then I also want to make M&M cookies because I have like a Valentine themed M&Ms, delicious, but then also kind of like a butter cookie. I don't know, sometimes when I decide I want to bake, I kind of go all out. So we'll have to see what happens. But I will check in with you again once I figure out what I'm going to read. Alrighty. I had my breakfast. I had a wrench thrown in my plans in that it's super windy and like snowy gross here today, and it kept knocking our Wi-Fi out. So I had to go up to like the router thing and like unplug it, plug it back in, wait for it to like reboot and everything, but it just keeps going in and out, like to the point where I can't keep unplugging because it comes back and then it just goes out again, and it's like 3-minute bursts. So we're hoping for the best, but I did decide what I'm gonna read. I went through my Goodreads like want to read shelf, and I found Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers, I believe it is, and I'm going to read that. I have the audiobook and the ebook, which is I'm very excited about. I am going to now I should have done it last night, but I forgot to get out like the butter and the cream cheese to soften. It's so cold in here, so it took so much longer than I wanted it to, but now we're at a place where I can start cooking, and so I have all that stuff out. I need to just gather the rest of the ingredients, and then I love when I'm baking to send the recipe from my computer to my iPad and have my iPad set up with the recipe. I love that a lot because I don't want to print it every time, especially if it's a bad recipe, then I've got to do something with it. So I'm gonna make the brownies first because they need to bake and then cool and then chill in the fridge. So then while those are in the oven, I'm going to make the cookie dough so that can chill in the fridge. I did end up making a little insert for my Kindle. I went a little overboard, okay? It might be too much, but I can't tell if I love it or if it's too much. So let me show that to you and you can tell me what you think. Okay, this is it. It's definitely busy, but I feel like looking at it through the screen, I really like it. I just made like a collage of little Valentine's things. I really like it. I think it's cutesy because then like the grip will go like right here, this area. I think I really like it. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and print that. So I think that, yeah, I'm gonna print that. I quite like it. I think I've just been looking at it too long, but I do really like it. And I can always just make another one for later. So excited about that. I'm going to put on my headphones, gather my ingredients, and then catch you once I have everything. I don't know how much I'm gonna be able to show you if I'm listening to my audiobook and also cooking. I won't be able to like talk, and also we don't have like an influencer kitchen, okay? We don't have like a big kitchen island. We have like a regular purple, our kitchen's not purple, a regular people kitchen. So I don't know how much you're gonna be able to see, so we'll have to figure that out. But let me gather my ingredients and then get back at you. I think this is the best we're gonna get setup wise. You can see my reflection in our shiny microwave. This is my iPad with my recipe set up, so I think this is how we're gonna have to do it. The first thing I'm making are cheesecake brownies from Broma Bakery. I have 2 websites that I absolutely love getting recipes from, and it's Broma Bakery and Butternut Bakery, I believe the other one is. And that's where I'm getting these recipes from. I'll link them down below too. But I have all my ingredients gathered for the cheesecake part, because we're making like a cheesecake filling that goes into the brownie batter. So for the cheesecake, we need cream cheese, egg, sugar, and vanilla. And then for the actual brownies, we need butter. I have to get that out. Sugar, egg, vanilla, chocolate, flour, cocoa powder, and salt. So I need more butter, but only half a cup this time. So only 1 stick. I had to get out 2 sticks of butter for the cookies because that needs to soften. So let me get the butter. Butter has been accumulated. I don't know why that was my go-to word. Acquired, that's what I was looking for. Okay, so now I'm gonna put on my headphones and get to baking. there's nothing. I will just update you later, but I'm gonna listen to my audiobook and hope I don't get distracted. So I'll catch you when this is coming together. Alrighty, I am about 20% into Honey Girl and my brownies are in the oven. They turned out amazing. I really like making brownies, specifically so that I can just eat the batter while they're in the oven, because that's the most delicious part. But Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. So we have our main character, Grace. Wow. Our main character, Grace, and her whole life has been like planned for her. Her dad was in the army and like they exclusively call him Colonel, if that tells you anything about him. And so he's like, this is what my daughter should be doing. He wanted her to be a doctor. She became a doctor, but for like, not astrology. Oh my God. The stars and stuff. For some reason I can't think of what that's called. So he doesn't love that, but she went on a little trip to Vegas with her best friends, and she woke up in the bed and she was like, there was someone here. She got married in Vegas to this woman named Yuki, and Yuki has like a radio show, and that's how they reconnected, and it is going so well so far. Grace graduated, she has her PhD, so she graduated her doctorate program, but she doesn't have a job lined up because she went to one interview that was like a highly coveted interview, and it was like very white, and she did not like it there, so she left without even finishing her interview, but told people she just didn't get the job. She's kind of grappling with, my life has been laid out, like exact steps I need to take, and now that she's taken all those steps, she doesn't know what to do next, especially now that she's drunkenly married someone in Vegas. And then we don't know a whole lot about Yuki at the moment, other than she lives in Brooklyn and she has this radio show where she talks about, like, the one episode we heard, she was like talking about sirens and stuff, so she talks about like spooky little things. But I'm really liking it. There's a lot of great conversations about like, you have your life planned and then what do you do next? Because truly, Grace is in this spot where she's like, I don't know where to go from here. She's working at this tea house with one of her best friends, and she's like, I don't know where to go. Like, I'm interviewing for jobs, but nothing feels right. So I'm curious to see how it goes and if we'll get anything from Yuki's perspective. I don't think so, because I'm on the chapter 7, I think, and we have not gotten a perspective switch yet. So I think it would be weird if we switched later, but I'd be into it. I'm really enjoying the writing. I don't know if this is this author's debut novel, but I'm really loving the writing. The title Honey Girl comes from when they woke up, Grace referred to Yuki as her like champagne bubble girl because it's like what she remembered of her. And then Yuki refers to Grace as her honey girl because she has like golden hair. It's stunning. And also, this is such a diverse book. There's just so many different diverse characters. We have Jimena, which is Grace's best friend that she met when her dad was in the hospital. And then we have Mina, who works at the tea house with Grace. And then Agnes, who also was met at the hospital. It's a really great found family, and they all just get to like, oh, I love them so much. So I'm, again, only 20% in. Grace has just confessed to all of her friends that she got married and kind of wants to like get to know this woman. So I think they've had a phone call, and then Yuki keeps talking to Grace through her like radio show. So that's very cutesy. And now they're texting. So I'm intrigued to see where this is going to go because they live on opposite sides of the country. I think Grace is in Portland. I think that's where they are. So clearly they're not together. So we'll see how that goes. But like, they're married legally, I think. They got married in Vegas, so it might be a little shaky, but I'm pretty sure they're legally married. Curious to see how that's going. Little like poppy thing. This absolutely wonderful. This is so easy to hold it like this. I'm really enjoying it. And the audiobook is really great too because the writing is very lyrical and it lends itself really well to being an audiobook. So really enjoying this. I think I have like 8, probably at this point like 6 minutes left on my brownies, and then I gotta check on those, and then we will start the cookie dough. Again, I apologize that you weren't able to see any of the making process, but let me tell you, I'm messy when I'm in the kitchen. There was brownie batter everywhere. It was a mess, but turned out good. And then we'll move on to the cookies, and I feel like that should be easier, right? Because this, you had to make brownie batter, and then you had to make the like cheesecake part, and then you have to take some of the brownie batter and like thin it out to make the swirl. So we shall see. I feel like the cookie should be easier. I hope. We'll see. Okay. Goodbye. Happy Valentine's Day. Can you tell I'm very festive today? I have been waiting all week to wear this sweater. I thrifted this. It's like pink and red, but then there's also some like sparkly threads in there. I love it a lot. And then I've got my little heart locket. These were gifts that I gave to my roommates when I left because I graduated, and it has a picture of the 3 of us in there with our birth flowers on the front. Adorable. I did not end up talking to you again last night because I was exhausted after doing all of that baking. I always forget how much it takes out. Like doing 1 recipe, oh, I'm fine, I can move on. Doing 2, because I like reused a lot of the dishes, so I washed them and then reused them. So it was just a lot going on. And then I showered after that, and I had some kind of like allergic reaction in the shower, and it's kind of still happening, which is why my face is all red. On theme for Valentine's Day, but like it burns and stings and like doesn't look good. So I'm okay though, and that's really all that matters. But last night I ended up getting to about 50% of Honey Girl, and I did print this out for my Kindle. I love the way it looks. It fits with the little grip so well. I love it so I love it so much. I think the little bear down here is my favorite. I did cut it kind of wonky, and if I were to do it again, I think I'd make it an inch bigger around every edge so it would cover the black over here. But I love it so much, and I will be doing this over and over again because this is so cute. But I did get to 50% of Honey Girl, and my thoughts, I'm not loving it, okay? When I went through my Goodreads shelf to find this, and I have wanted to read this for so long, and so many people whose reviews I really trust and whose reading taste I line up with absolutely loved it, and I'm just kind of bored. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I'm gonna keep reading it because I want to see where the story goes, but like, I don't know. I'm not loving it. So right now, Grace, I always forget her name, is in Brooklyn because she went to go spend the summer with Yuki so that they can like get to know each other. And she lied. Her parents are divorced, and she lied to both of them, telling them that she was just going, like she had got this like crazy good research opportunity. And I'm like, Queen, I feel like a lot of her issues could be solved with a conversation. And I know that it's not that simple. Like, her family dynamics are very complex, and I know that just like sitting down and having the conversation is not as easy as you would want it to be, because her dad has like very clear goals in mind for her, especially like being a black man in the military and like growing up how he did. He like needs to prove himself like 10 times more than anyone else, and so he feels his daughter has to do the same. So it's really hard for them to have a conversation. And she like went to his office to talk to him, and she wanted to just be like her internal monologue was, Dad, please just listen to me, but out loud she was like, yes, Colonel. And I'm like, that just like, it breaks my heart because I have a really great relationship with my dad, and so seeing that like it hurts because I know how good it can be. But I really do feel like if she just talked to them, and that's what she tried to do. She went to his office with the intention of being like, I need a break. Even my like advisor and my closest mentor was like, you need a break. You've been hustling, grinding nonstop for 11 years. Please take a break. It's going to be better for you and for everyone in your life. She tried to tell him that, and it just didn't really work. He was like, no, like, us porters, we don't take breaks. We keep going. Like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. This is what you're going to do. And then she talked to her mom. Her parents are divorced, and they both have like their own new partners. But she talked to her mom, and she seems like she has a better relationship with her mom than she does her dad. But we don't really know too much about her mom other than she's like very hippie, holistic, going on all these different like retreats. But like, she seems to have, her mom seems a lot more laid back than her dad. So I feel like if she could just talk to her mom and be like, listen, I need a break. This is what happened. I married this woman. I'm going to go stay with her. Her mom might be like, good for you. But the fact that she's just like lying to everyone, I'm like, this is going to come back to bite her so hard, because they're thinking that she's out getting this crazy good opportunity, and she's not even working. Not a single job does she have. So I'm interested to see how that's gonna go. But then there's also been a lot of like internal monologues and conversations and discussions about like being lonely, because even both Grace and Yuki have like really great solid friendships. They're more like family systems, but they both still feel very lonely. And I think that has a lot to do with, Yuki went to school, she got her degree, I don't think she did her master's, but she got her degree in history, and now she's working as a waitress and doing like her radio show at night. And then Grace, astronomy, that's what she's doing. She's an astronomer, not astrology. And they both worked so hard for their degrees, and now they're not working in that field. And so they're feeling very lonely in the regard of, they worked so hard for something that they know they want, and they're just like now not doing it. And so they're feeling lonely in the respect of, this is what I feel like I should be doing, and it's what I want for myself, but I just can't get there. And they both have like incredibly supportive family, like found family systems. And so they're not lonely in the regard of they have a community, but they're lonely in the sense that there's so much that they want for themselves, and they just can't quite figure out how to get there. And so I really enjoyed that conversation, especially as someone who's in grad school and doesn't have a job and is trying to get a job in my field. I do feel that. And another thing that I related with Grace on is that she went to a job interview, and she ended up, and it was like a perfect job for her. Like, she was so excited. She wanted this opportunity so badly. But then when she went to the interview, she could just tell that the vibes were off, and that the office was like very white, and it just like was not going to be a good fit for her, because she doesn't want to be like a diversity hire. She wants to fit in with where she's working. And obviously, as a white woman, I don't have the exact same experience. However, as a lesbian, I want to make sure that where I'm working is a place that's going to support me and be supportive of me. And so that's definitely something that I felt seen with on that front. So, you know, I am enjoying the conversations that are being had in the book, but the plot itself just feels like it's kind of dragging on. Like there was this whole scene, like a whole chapter, honestly, where now that she's with Yuki, they were going like monster hunting. As soon as I heard them say monster hunt, I was like, you're gotta be kidding. Because Yuki's like radio show, she talks about like monsters and like the supernatural and stuff, mainly just as a way for people to feel like seen and heard, again tying back into the loneliness. But they spent this whole day driving like 4 hours out of their way to go sit at this lake and see if they'd find this monster. And I was like, what are we doing? What is this book? What is the plot? And I was just like, I don't understand. And I thought maybe we'd have really great conversations, and we did, about like Yuki just seeing people and like understanding that they just need to feel seen, and she wants someone to do that for her. But then I feel like we didn't gain anything from that chapter, so I was kind of just like, I wanted to finish it yesterday. There was a part of me that was like, I'm just gonna read it all, and so I can read another book today and like have 4 books read for this fall. But I was like, that's not true to how I read, and I don't want to just read more for the sake of reading. And I know that forcing myself to read it all last night would have made it so that I had an even more negative opinion of it. So I'm going to finish this today, and I feel like 3 books in a week, that's good for me, okay? I'm not a super fast reader, like I can be, but I like to take my time with my books, so I don't like read super quickly. Like I don't get through stuff a lot. However, when I was looking for this, I kept getting a recommendation, like, you know how Goodreads says like a reader's also enjoyed, or like you might enjoy, and it's this graphic novel called like The Princess and the Grilled Cheese or something. The Princess and the Grilled Cheese Sandwich, so I wasn't too far off. And it's a graphic novel, but it looks super cutesy, and I do want to read it. Also, I feel like I've been craving a visual medium, you know? I read 2 graphic novels last month and I really enjoyed them. I don't know that I'll ever buy a graphic novel, but I've been enjoying reading them on my iPad, so I think I might also pick that up. It's also got a really high rating, so I think we'll be reading that later after we finish this. But you didn't get to see any of the things that I baked yesterday, so I'm going to take you to the kitchen and you can see any of that. But I just got a notification that a really exciting book came in on my hold for Libby. It's Wings of Starlight by Allison Saft. I'm a Tinkerbell girly, okay? And that is so exciting. Completely unrelated, but I spent my morning this is also unrelated, but I'm just gonna fill you in. A little chatty. I spent my morning sending a lot of emails because summer class registration starts on Monday, and I don't know what classes I'm taking, so I needed to figure that out. And then I'd also applied for scholarships through the American Library Association. I don't know if you know this, I'm in grad school to become a librarian. So I filled out the application for scholarships through the American Library Association. But because you have to have 3 like references, and one of them didn't get the email to fill out her stuff, so I get no scholarship. So I had to email them to try and get that figured out. And then I had to email my advisor for my grad program to help me figure out what classes I'm taking. And so it's been a morning, but I'm really loving my outfit. I feel very festive. My red face is also contributing to the festivities, and my lips are also a color. So we're going for it. But I woke up this morning and my mom had decorated for Valentine's Day, and it's so cutesy out there. So I'll take you around and we can see that, and then I'll show you what I ended up baking yesterday and give you my reviews. So she put up this little Valentine's banner over here, and then these hearts out here, and then she put these little hearts on the fridge, and then we have our stuff over there. Isn't this just the cutest? I love her so much. Okay, but time for our review of what we baked. So we have the cookies. They turned out very plump, okay? They didn't flatten like at all, and I didn't even put in as much flour as the recipe called for. It called for 3 cups, and I did like 2 and a little bit. It was like closer to like 2.5, but like, do you see how fat that is? Like, I like a thinner crispy cookie, definitely not this. And last night when I ate it, the flavor was not there and the texture was bad. But let's try it again this morning. You know, I think I actually like it more today. I think we're getting a package too. I do like it more today. And this is gonna be weird, but it has like a milky flavor to it. Like, I don't know if I put too much vanilla or something, but it has like there's no milk in the recipe, but it tastes kind of milky. Like, it's a little bit more like a shortbread type cookie. It's much better today than it was last night. Butter cookies and like shortbread cookies are some of my favorite. And this has like that kind of crumbly, kind of dry texture and like a buttery flavor. But it feels like hollow. Not the cookie itself, but like the flavor. It's very interesting. I like it more than I did last night. last night, I would have given it like a 3 out of 10, which is crazy because cookies are almost always better when they're warm. Well, this is much better this morning. So now I'm gonna give it like a 6 out of 10. Honestly, kind of crazy how much I prefer it now. I think it's quite good now. But the brownies, give me a second. The brownies turned out so amazing. The swirl didn't quite work out. I think if I were to make them again, I would do it so that I doubled the cheesecake part, because you used 4 ounces of cream cheese and a regular block has 8. And I think it just, I don't know if you can really see, but like there's more brownie than there is cheesecake, which I guess makes sense, but the cheesecake layer is really good. These, 10 out of 10, so delicious. I love them so much. Cheesecake is one of my favorite desserts. And then I love brownies too. Like I mentioned, I think yesterday, I like making brownies just because I like eating the batter, but these are so good. Truly delicious. I love them so much. 10 out of 10. They're so good. Make this recipe. I'm gonna link both of these recipes down below. This is so good. I made it in a circle pan because the square pan that we have is like really scratched up, so everything just sticks to it, and this is a newer pan, so cutting things in this pan is kind of difficult because you end up with like weirdly shaped pieces, but it's so good. It's so good. Again, double the cheesecake part, but otherwise really very delicious. I've never had a cold brownie before, but because of the cheesecake part, keep it in the fridge. But these, incredibly delicious. And I think if you added like even just food coloring to the cheesecake part, you could make it like pink, and then it would be so cutesy for Valentine's Day. I didn't do that obviously because it's my first time making this recipe, but really enjoyed this. So that's how my baking adventures turned out. And I made a whole sheet of these cookies, so like 12 cookies, and I still have a whole giant ball of dough left. So it makes a lot. So that's how the baking went. Here you get a better view of my sweater. It's so pretty. I love it so much. And it's got like a little mock neck. And the necklace, it's perfect. A lot of the things that I've worn this week have been thrifted. How exciting. Okay, so I'm gonna get breakfast and then I will probably read some more and I'll check in with you again after. Finally started reading for the day. I'm on chapter 16, which is about like 75% of the way through, and Grace has fully broken down. She is getting therapy, which Queen needs. She did have a conversation with her mom, which is what I wanted her to do, so this is good. I'm enjoying it more now than I was before. I was gonna say we've reached the 3rd act breakup, but was it really a breakup if they weren't ever together? Because again, they were married, but were they legally married? I'm not sure. So like they were like kind of like getting to know each other, but I'm not sure that they ever really like solidified what their relationship was. Grace got an email from her mentor that kind of sent her spiraling, and so she went back home to Florida with her mom, and thankfully her mom is like inspiring some sense into her, so I'm enjoying where we're going from here. Again, there have been some great quotes about being lonely and how she truly just like had this plan and now she just like does not know what to do with herself. So a lot of the same, but like we're making progress, it feels like. I'm enjoying it more than I was before, and truly I can see it getting up to a 4. It will not be a 5 just because it took 70% of the book for me to start enjoying it. I am enjoying it. I really love the like found family aspect, and how she's realizing they don't just rely on me, I also rely on them, and how, you know, we have like a good symbiotic relationship with our friends. So enjoying it. I am now having a little Valentine's Day treat of my brownie so you can see the cheesecake swirled, and I'm just gonna keep reading and I will update you again. I thought I had more to say. Really, it's just been like more of the same. There's been a lot of really great quotes that I've been highlighting. Do we know, does Kindle, like when you highlight things, does it save it somewhere? I don't know how to check. Let's see. Oh yeah, here we go. Oh, here we go. Okay, so a quote from page 214 of the ebook that I wanted to share. I'm lost, she sobs. I don't know what I'm doing and I hate it. It comes up like black sludge, like tar. It's been buried and it comes up now. And then it goes on to talk about how like once it starts coming up, she can't stop and everything comes out, which needed to happen. But yeah, that's what's happening here, is just truly she feels so lost and she hates the way it feels, but she doesn't know how to do anything about it because this is the plan she had set up, and now that the plan is over and she's not where she thought she was, she's just lost. So I'm enjoying that. Oh my god. And then we get texts between like her and a whole bunch of other people throughout the book, and there's one with Yuki because she left New York without saying goodbye to anyone, just like up and left because she just could not be there anymore. And so Yuki texted her and was just like, I didn't know when you said you didn't believe in monsters, you meant you didn't believe in me too. gagged. I read that and I said, ooh, you got her where it hurts, girl. So I'm interested to see how they end up coming back together and just like how their relationship ends up playing out, because they do currently live on like opposite ends of the country. So curious to see what happens there, and I hope that she gets a job. I'm gonna be real with you. I hope things end up well for her. But I'll check in with you again when I'm done with my brownie, or when I have more to say. I have finished Honey Girl. I finished it a few hours ago actually, but then we had dinner and I needed to ruminate on my thoughts, and I would not classify this as a romance first and foremost. And I don't know that that's, let me check actually and see if that's how we're marketing this, because I feel like that's not how I would classify it. Okay, so yeah, on Goodreads, the first tag is romance, LGBT, contemporary fiction, lesbian, queer, adult. I disagree, because there definitely are romantic elements. Like the whole driving plot of it, the book, is that she gets married to Yuki in Las Vegas, and that kind of causes her life to crumble. But I wouldn't say it's necessarily about romance. Like, I wouldn't say that this is a romance novel. It's about Grace finding herself and coming to terms with the plan that she's crafted for her life not being what happened, and reconnecting with her family, and just like coming to terms with her life as it is now rather than the life that she had planned for herself. And so I think that maybe this wasn't the best thing to read for this vlog, but I didn't know that going into it, because that's not at all what like the description is about. It makes it seem like it's purely a romance, and it's so much more than that. And I think I would have enjoyed it more had I known that going into it, because so I think where I left off talking to you, she had gone into therapy, and it's been so good for her, truly. She's had really great conversations with both of her parents, and she really just talked to them and was like, listen, your plans for me are not what's going to be happening. And she had a really great conversation with her dad where all she needed to hear was that he was proud of her, and she got that, and it was like very, very a nice moment. I really enjoyed that. I don't love the way it ended. I think it was a good ending for the character and for the story, but I wish that we had seen more, because like where it ended, she came up with like a new life plan for herself and what she wanted to do, but we don't see how any of that plays out like at all. There wasn't an epilogue, nothing. And we never really even got any like closure on the relationship, because like she had left Yuki in New York, didn't say anything to her, and then her mom gets remarried, and Yuki just like shows up at the wedding and is like, hey, and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, and they kind of have like a cute little forgiveness moment, but like, are they gonna make it work? How are we doing like long, like, I just have a lot more questions. Overall, I really enjoyed it. Great conversations about feeling lost even when you're surrounded by people, lost within yourself because you're just like not living up to the expectations you set for yourself. And let me tell you, since graduating, I feel like had I read this one after graduating with my master's, this would hit so hard. So I might actually come back to this, because I did really enjoy it. I just feel like it should have been marketed more as like a coming of age, because I feel like coming of age is usually only ever seen in like the YA, but no, because she's coming of age, she's realizing I'm 29, I need to get my shit together and figure out what I actually want to do and not what other people are telling me I want to. But I really enjoyed how she was like embracing her identity and like just, well, she already had embraced her. I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts on this, and I'm not articulating them very well, but I just feel like, again, it shouldn't be marketed as a romance first and foremost, because it's about her like falling in love with herself again, not so much someone else. But I really liked it. I'm gonna give it a 3.5, which is not a bad rating. It's just, I don't think this is the type of story that I particularly enjoy. I feel like it's mainly contemporary romance secondary to that, but I did really enjoy it. I really like the writing. If this author has other things, let's check and see if she's written other things, because I definitely would be interested in picking up other things from this author. No, it seems like this is the only thing she's written. And let me tell you, for being a debut, this is fantastic. This is what I meant when I said that Honey Witch felt like a debut book, because this, I had no clue this was a debut. This is so beautifully written, and it felt so well thought out and like put together, and Honey Witch felt not like that. But yeah, I really enjoyed this, and I would love to I changed to sweatpants after dinner. I would really love to read more from this author and more of what she has to say, because I did really enjoy it. It's just, I enjoyed the writing and Grace as a character more than I enjoyed the story and anything else happening in it. So there's that. But again, great conversations about being lost and finding yourself and leaning on people, but then also being able for them to lean on you, and not just like taking from other people, but then giving as well. I really enjoyed it. 3.5 for me. So that is the last full novel I'm going to read in this vlog. So we had a 3-star, a 5-star, and then a 3.5 star. And I'm happy with those ratings. I think we might have to do another romance reading vlog for me to really get my taste in romance. And surprisingly, the YA I gave a higher rating than the 2 adult novels. that's interesting. But I think it's just because that one was like fully romance and I'd like to read more of that. It's just, this is the hold that came in this time. And now, could I read something else tonight and like read all night and get another book in? Yes, but I don't want to do that. And I don't think you want to see that. So I am going to work on editing this vlog and reading my graphic novel, and then I will check in with you once I start that, so you can get, because I feel like I won't have as many thoughts on that because it'll just be like, do I like the art style, do I like what the messaging is, you know, we'll see. But those are my thoughts on Honey Girl. I read 2 books in this vlog with honey in the title. Interesting. But we had pizza for dinner because that's my mom's favorite food, and so we got that for her. And then she got me a little box of chocolates, and it had the cutest, most tasty little chocolates in it. And then I ate a brownie, and I am having a great evening. Truly, I hope your Valentine's was great, because a lot of times Valentine's really just celebrates romantic love, but there are so many other kinds of love. And I feel like the books I've read this week have really shown that, because there was love between like families and how close-knit family units can be, and between friends and siblings, and like platonic love especially is so important, and we really need to just like lean on our friends. And that's something I loved about Honey Girl, was how much these friend groups became like family units. I absolutely love that. So if you're looking for found family, highly recommend this. But like, love is so much more than just romantic love. There's so many other kinds of love, and I feel like the things I read this week really showed that. So let me know how your Valentine's was, and I will check with you again probably only one more time for the rest of this vlog. Okay, I've ruminated a little bit more on Honey Girl, and it just hasn't really stuck with me in the way that the other thing, like Honey Witch, stuck with me because I had a bone to pick with that one, and it could have been good, but it wasn't, and so it was like really sticking with me in like the ways that I could have been better. And then Playing for Keeps stuck with me because I absolutely loved it. This one has not stuck with me, and I don't think it will. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 3.5 because like I did enjoy my reading experience, but it's just not sticking with me in the way that I wanted it to, which is really disappointing because it was such a good book. It just wasn't doing it for me, unfortunately. But I did end up reading The Princess and the Grilled Cheese, and oh my god, I've never loved a graphic novel more. The story, the art, the author story. First of all, it has the most gorgeous art style of any graphic novel I've ever read. Like, look at this. Are you kidding? Stunning. So this is about this girl who, her father is a count, and then he dies, but he doesn't have any sons, and the way the laws are set up, the inheritance can't go to a daughter. So she masquerades as a man, as the count's son, and she becomes the Count of Camembert. All of the people's names are cheeses. It was so funny. And so she moves to like the city of fromage to like hide out and like try and lay low as a man. And laying low does not work for her because she just wants to go out and be on the town. And she ends up going to a ball hosted by the crown princess Brie. Hilarious. And Brie's friends are Lady Gorgonzola and Ricotta. That's simply too funny. Lady Gorgonzola and Ricotta. That's hilarious. Hilarious. And then she has a little dog named Gouda. And we get, like, the dog has its own little thoughts. Like, it'll say, like, woof. And then in parentheses, it'll say, like, what the dog's act. Hilarious, because the dog has its own perspective. And the dog is so cutesy. And then she ends up falling for the princess, but he can't reveal that she's a she because, like, then she'll end up put in jail for pretending to be a man. But she also can't profess her love for the princess because she's a woman. But then the princess changes the laws so that they can actually get married, and it's just so pretty. And at the end, they do end up getting married, and their wedding dresses of the two characters are designed based on the wedding dresses of the author and their wife. Stunning. It was beautiful. It was gorgeous. I've read 2 other graphic novels this year, and I didn't rank or like rate either of them because I was like, it doesn't, 5 stars. I loved it so much. I was laughing out loud, staring at the art, going back to look at things. It was so good. I want to buy myself a copy because I loved the art. So perfect way to end. It was so cutesy and romantic, and I loved it. And this is exactly what I was looking for. I highly recommend this. It was really, really fantastic. So that is going to end our reading vlog. I had a wonderful time with you this week, and I hope you had a good time with me. We made our cutesy little Valentines, and we baked cutesy little desserts, and I read 3 novels, The Honey Witch, which I rated 3 stars, Playing for Keeps, which I rated 5 stars, and then Honey Girl, which I rated, again, I think I'm gonna give it 3.5. That's where we're settled with that. And then I read The Princess and the Grilled Cheese, and that was so cutesy, and 5 stars. Even though I said I wouldn't rate graphic novels, I'm going to with this one because I loved it. So I think this was a really good foray. Not that I haven't read romance before, but never this much in a week. And there's some that I'm still definitely going to read because as my holds come in, I'm going to keep picking them up. So How You Get the Girl, which I talked about in like the first clip of the vlog, I will still read because I think my hold will come in like 12 weeks, honestly. But I am still excited for that. And this really just like got me deeper into like the Valentine's Day spirit. So I hope you had a good Valentine's Day, no matter what your romantic situation is, because Valentine's Day is for everyone. All the lover girls and boys and theys. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, stick around for more, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.